So I feel confident in saying at this point that Steven Universe has reached peak sadness. We've reached the peak! We've did it!
Oh, don't challenge them.
This is it. This is it.
I'm so sure they would take that as a challenge, though. It's like, oh, you thought it was bad now.
Oh, God. That's a good point. Anyway, this is Storm in the Room. In this episode, Steven and Connie are waiting for Connie's mom to pick her up from Steven's house. She's a little late as they try to spend their time enjoying board games and such. Connie starts to get worried about what might have happened to her, but she eventually does show up. The two of them leave and Steven is just left at home by himself. He goes through his normal routine, but he keeps getting distracted by the picture of Rose. Eventually, with a storm outside, he looks up at it again, just wanting the truth about Rose. The door to Rose's room opens again and Steven goes inside. Steven uses the room to make a rose quartz, and then they spend some time with each other. Steven is enjoying spending quality time with her mom, but realizes that the rose he made was just the idealistic rose built up for his whole life. He gets angry at this rose as storm clouds start replacing the normal pink ones. It becomes a storm, and Rose floats above him ominously. He criticizes Rose for everything that's happened, but at the end, Rose comes back down to earth and says that Steven knows that isn't true based on the tape she gave him. And Steven agrees. They hug as it rains and Rose disappears. And then after Steven leaves the room, Greg and the Crystal Gems come back with the pizza. Hooray!
He's not alone anymore.
Hooray!
He has his dad and his living mums.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, this was heartrending.
This was a trip.
And it did feel like Steven was calling Rose Quartz out on behalf of the fandom almost, because there's been a lot of conflicted feelings about what Rose Quartz has left on Steven's shoulders.
No.
Unintentionally.
That's not true. It's more accurate to say that the writers knew how they would react, and they reacted accordingly.
Because the thing is also, even if Rose Quartz by no means was trying to run away and make Steven fix her mistakes, there is also still the fact that she knew she was going to be gone and she wouldn't be able to help them, and Steven is having to deal with the fallout of her mistakes. Like, none of it's intentional on her part, but that's still what is currently traumatizing Steven and everyone around him.
So, this might seem like a tangent, but I have a point to this. Okay. I've discussed my favorite episodes enough, so I think you can answer this. Okay. Manga, what's my favorite episode?
It's Alone Together, isn't it?
Yes. And what season did that take place in?
Was that season 1 or was it season 2?
Yes, season 1.
Yeah.
Okay, what's my second favorite episode?
Is that not Sworn to the Sword?
Yep. What season did that take place in?
Again, I think that was season 1.
No, that was season 2.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, pretty early in season 2. Okay, so my third favorite episode would be...
that's... See, I can't remember the name
it's
of the
Mr.
episode
Greg.
now. Yeah, I was about to say it's the one with, It's Over, isn't it? Because
Yes.
I've forgotten the name of the episode, I just remember the song.
And what season did that take place in?
Season 3.
Do you notice a pattern here?
Is this now your 4th favorite episode?
So the funny thing is that I was joking for a while, like, okay, so I'm still waiting for my 4th favorite episode, assuming, like, okay, that's not gonna happen, that's way too specific at this point. And yet here we are!
Here we are.
What are the odds? This is amazing.
Like, it starts out kind of hinting that emotions are going to be serious.
Yeah.
I mean, I do want to know how many gems it takes to screw in a light bulb, by the way. Steven never clarified that.
4, lapis didn't help.
But But then as soon as Connie starts worrying about her mum, part of me is like, oh, is her mum okay? And then she is, but Steven's face when Connie's talking to her mum is, oh.
I think that's my episode might have been even higher, but I think that's the one thing holding it back is that the first 3 minutes are very good, but they're clearly there more for the rest of the episode rather than mattering that much on their own. It's basically an excuse so they could go back to the ending of the last episode that had Connie's mom.
So they can spark off Steven worrying about his mum again.
Yeah.
She's doing a lot lately, poor boy. Because he gets out of his zooming clothes and he makes mac and cheese and the thunderstorm ruins it. That's a cardinal sin. Ruining mac and cheese.
This might sound weird, but that was actually my favorite scene of the episode. Is when he's just by himself, doing normal things. And he's just left there with his thoughts.
It's very quiet and very sad, especially after, seeing Connie with her mum is very clearly sparked. He stares at his mum's portrait for a couple seconds just to make absolutely sure you know where his mind is just now.
Yeah. It's not only that, it's just a really tense thing because, he's gone through all this shit, and now he's just doing normal things, and there's just no one around. It's just how do you live normally right now?
How do you get back from space after rescuing your dad who was kidnapped by aliens, and then you just gotta microwave dinner? Have a shower?
Yeah, I love scenes like that, and, it did really just give the sense that it's, it's hard for me to even describe why this just works so well.
Melancholy is the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, that would be it. I think because I also find it relatable. Because I always feel my worst when I'm just doing nothing. Just doing boring, generic things, and there's just no one around. That's a good way to make you think bad thoughts.
Yeah. It's also a good little beat between, scenes of episodes of emotional intensity, basically.
Yeah.
It's still emotionally very strong, but it's not very intense. So it just kind of gives you a moment to settle into the feel of the episode before he goes into the gem room.
Yeah.
Which, we still don't really know what the temple is, or what kind of gem installation is this.
The world may never know.
That weird, multi-dimensional door that leads to different parts of the interior of the temple based on which gem is outside it. That's right up there with Lion for things that have been around forever and we know jack shit about.
Yeah.
And then he goes in and he makes a rose quartz. And one of the things I was wondering for a while was, is this just a room projection rose quartz? Or is there maybe some, actual part of her being channeled through Steven's gem?
Yeah. I think the thing is that I've already seen this, twice. And the first time I thought that might be true, but in retrospect and considering, I think just based on certain things he says, if you really pay attention, there's enough hints that this is probably all Steven.
Yeah, a lot of the things she says and a lot of the way she behaves. I mean, at one point he's clearly wanting advice from her, and she sits in a meditative position just like Garnet did, when she was teaching Stevonnie to meditate and find peace.
Yeah.
So, I feel, which, also gives me warm fuzzies, because Steven's perception of, a supportive mother is influenced by Garnet. I guess.
Also,
yeah.
I think the main thing that did it is, when they play the game, and Steven's just yay, I won, and Rose's only response is, yay, you won.
Yeah, exactly. She chants out her little speech about how all sports are unique and beautiful.
Oh, that's great.
I can't remember. That's clearly a spoof of a speech from an earlier episode. I can't remember exactly.
It's from the speech where they got the tape. Because that's the only time he's seen Rose actually talking.
Yeah, so he's spoofed off. So that speech has gotten spoofed off into a speech about why sports are great.
Yes. I love self-parody.
Yeah. Also, like, Steven wonders what mothers and sons do together, and what he actually comes up is, you know, the most stereotypical TV father-son American thing.
Yes.
So, you know, part of his brain is still used to primarily associate his dad as a parent, and it's come with something stereotypical that he's probably seen on TV a million times, because he doesn't really know.
Yes.
And, you know, she asks him to explain the video game because he wants to explain the video game to her, even though, you know, he has that moment of, when I try to explain my favorite thing, it sounds terrible, but just play it and you'll like it.
Yeah, I actually liked how what was it like? So it's a spin-off of a game that's based off a show I like. It's really confusing, but that's why I like it.
Also, going back to the football bit, the Charlie Brown bit.
Yes.
It even had the Charlie Brown cartoon music.
Yes.
And then suddenly the sound effects and animation go exactly like the old Charlie Brown cartoons. And it's just... Again, I'm sure they can't explicitly reference Charlie Brown. There's probably some copyright shit around that.
Yeah.
But he's probably read Charlie Brown cartoon comics. We all have. Everyone knows about Lucy and the football.
And I'm certain his dad played, like, the old, like, specials, like the Thanksgiving one and such.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not Thanksgiving. Well, in this universe, they don't have holidays, so maybe they're a little different.
They're the same. Yeah, instead of a very Charlie Brown Christmas, they've got Merry Christmas Charlie Brown, they've got, I don't know, Happy New Year Charlie Brown or something, I don't know.
It started to become very cold Charlie Brown, and we thought we should celebrate it for some reason, Charlie Brown.
Whereas, they're doing that thing again where they're referring to like a cartoon or comic just completely out of nowhere and it doesn't really have anything to do with anything. But oh shit, I just realized the symbolism. He's being offered a chance to interact with his mother, but it's not real and it's gonna get snatched away from him.
That's gonna By the way, so first of all, I actually did look up, like, a version of that old saying, and I thought they just used random sound effects, but no, it is actually the exact sound effects they use, which is awesome.
Yep.
But second of all, is that not the most fitting cartoon for Steven Universe to reference? Like, isn't it? It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Small child who leads a sad life.
Yes. I wish they would have gone further, and at some point just Rose's face is just not shown anymore, and they do wah wah wah
wah. See Pumpkin Puppy napping on top of a red doghouse.
Yes. That'd be great.
And then after that, he's sitting talking to his mom. I kind of want to see Steven with pink hair. I think it's cute that he admits that he kind of wondered about dyeing his hair pink.
Yes. Like, that's probably the other best part of the episode is, Steven's acting. Like, the acting from Steven is fantastic in this episode. Because he just comes across as just genuinely kind of shy about all this.
Yeah, he's a kid who's getting to hang out with his mum for the first time, and of course he's got, he's shy and nervous, he's not sure how it's supposed to go, but he's still really happy about it. But where he just leans over and gets to cuddle in her lap a bit, because he's never gotten a cuddle in his mum's lap, and I'm like, aww. It's the bit where I started tearing up. But then that's also the bit where he realizes this room's showing him what he wants.
I love how they showed that he tries to take a selfie and it's just all blackness. It's not even even the room isn't real. It's just black.
Just floating in the void. It's probably symbolism for something too. It looks pink and fluffy and it's just black and empty. I'm sure it's not secretly saying that Rose Quartz is evil inside, but... Because they have done a very good job of slowly making her very, very complicated.
Yeah.
For a character who's been dead for a while since before the show started, that's pretty good work. And then, because he's getting angry and the room is responding to his emotions, suddenly we have an evil-looking Rose Quartz.
Yes.
I also have to say...
I always love that look. When you just take away the eyes, it's just shadow.
Yeah. And I'd say just something about the way they were animating, like the dark swirling clouds and the wind and the, intense piano music in the background, made me think of a scene where stuff's getting serious in a Ghibli movie.
Kind of, yeah.
So, just something about that scene struck me as very Ghibli. And yeah, it's, he has his moment of... And the fact that the projection does come back to him with the thing where the video shows that he knows that she wasn't trying to hurt him. He knows that she didn't want to hurt him, she didn't want him to have to deal with her stuff for her. But it also just doesn't change the fact that he is having to deal with the fallout of her decisions, and she isn't. And it's just a complicated way to feel, and the show's for small kids, and it's really good. How does it keep doing this in 11 minutes?
I know, right? So I actually honestly think you're still kind of understating how sad this has gotten. The very premise of this episode is just the saddest thing ever. Steven decided to make a version of her mom. Of his mom.
It's a kid speaking to the dead mother who died in childbirth.
Yes.
That's some dark shit.
Like, there's something just kind of just like almost unsettling about the fact that he decided to just make a Rose.
Yeah. But I mean, at least he picked up that it wasn't really Rose much quicker than he picked up on the fake Connie before.
Yeah.
Given that now I think part of it is that he knows that the room can do that. And I think, probably from the start he knew she wasn't really real, but he just that badly wanted to get to talk to his mum a little bit.
Yeah.
That hurts. That really hurts.
Not only is he angry about all the things that they've been left with because she's gone, then he wonders if the only reason he exists is because of this.
Yeah, and that can be a hard moment of realizing, maybe I don't exist because my parents wanted me, maybe I was, Which, yeah, there's probably also the question in part of his mind was she lying on the videotape? But in the end he decides to believe in her because he's Steven and he's pure like that.
I don't think so.
I don't think she was lying. I don't think she had any ill intent at all in making Steven. I think she genuinely, for the love of life, loved Steven and wanted him to be born. I just really do think she hadn't really thought through the implications of her not being around anymore and the effect that would have on everyone around her. Like, she often comes off as in the few flashbacks or whatever we have her, that she was a bit willful and maybe not totally... Again, not so much uncaring, it's just not necessarily noticing the feelings of people around her. Because she just showed a lot of care. She showed a lot of care to Pearl, that got her madly in love with her. She showed a lot of care to Garnet when she was scared and confused and new. She showed a lot of love and affection to Amethyst just for existing. She loved people a lot, but she's so complicated. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also love that Steven brought up Bismuth as well. I really want Bismuth to come back soon. Because, partially she had such a cool voice and character design, but also, they really need to deal with what happened to her, because it was... what happened between Rose bubbling Bismuth and deciding to shadow Pink Diamond?
That's a good question.
And why... Yeah. What happened, and why did she not tell any of Bismuth's friends what happened to her for thousands of years?
I still think it was pure strategy, pure trying to not divide her own people, basically. She just did what she like the end of the last season said. She didn't always do what was best for her. She did what was best for the Crystal Gems.
Yeah. So complicated.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I keep saying, how does it keep doing this in 11 minutes? It doesn't. It builds up to it, Rebecca Sugar is really playing the long game with this show. She must have been very confident she was getting a few seasons out of it.
Yes.
But it just builds up in bits and pieces so well. I'm so looking forward to seeing where it's going.
Yeah.
And whether or not the show can make me more interested in Ronaldo as a character.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I was surprised at how consistently they kept continuing from the last episode, because the last episode also continued from what happened before. And now we just keep going. Like, I was surprised Connie was still around in this episode.
Yeah, it starts off Connie's still around and Steven's still in his zoom-in clothes. Going a lot heavier on the continuity now. Which, it can be a dangerous move for kids' shows, so we'll see how that goes.
When Connie wondered where her mom was, but this is a valid point. She hasn't showed up in a season and a half. Oh, that reminds me. When are they going to bring back her dad? I want more Crispin Freeman dad.
When can they get Crispin Freeman back?
Yes.
I will say, this interests me. Going after the Ronaldo episode next, the one after that is called Tiger Philanthropist. Steven tries pro wrestling.
Yeah, I've heard that. So, I want to see that.
I want Puma back.
Yes.
Puma Fist. So it looks like the next two aren't necessarily going to be leading straight one after the other as much. So, yeah. After all these heavily serial...
So maybe something weird will happen, it will.
Just after all these heavily serialized episodes, they've probably got to back up a little bit.
Probably. I liked when Steven just suddenly came into frame and was just leaning at a 45-degree angle. It was way funnier than I thought it would be. Just, why are you standing like that?
Oh, Steven. Just because Steven.
The last thing I need right now is more space.
Yes, I love that line.
Yes.
I also kind of liked all of poor Connie's nervous word choices.
Oh, yeah. Crest. Explosion.
Just like, accident? Unexpected? Crashing? Explosion! You're just like, Connie.
So is that going to be a running gag now? The characters are just going to randomly say explosion? Because I'd be all for that.
Best running gag.
There was this weird thing when they were leaving, where like, her mother's like, so he was at the spa, right? No, not spa. Space! I've
so casually, too.
What? I've many questions. How did you get that conclusion? Like, the only assumption, and this is the dumbest assumption, but it's the only one I have, is because space has all the letters for spa.
See, I feel like it's like Connie's mum heard her say Steven's gone to space, and then thought, did she say gone to space? She can't have said gone to space. Probably said gone to a spa.
Also, by the way, the storm outside came by really quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, that turned up out of nowhere just in time to ruin Steven's dinner.
Yes. It just flooded his dinner, by the way. Like, how long was he outside? Because it was just half water by that point.
It truly does hurt me to see mac and cheese destroyed like that.
Yes.
But then his dad and his other moms come back with pizza and all is well with the world.
I have like five or six notes here that are just like all caps. Because of how crazy they got. Yeah. Also, I liked when Greg... the way that Greg basically said... I forget the whole line, but at one point he was like, "It was me!" Why did he say it like that?
No, it's like, guess who brought you pizza? It was me!
He was so enthusiastic about pointing that out.
He was so proud of his pizza bringing abilities.
Yes. It also helped that it wasn't square pizza.
Nope, it was proper round pizza, with mushrooms instead of pepperoni.
Yes. But
that's fine.
We can deal with Steven's pizza prejudice another time.
All pizza is good pizza.
So I'm not surprised that they did an episode like this. I thought somehow, someway, they would end up having Rose meet Steven in some way.
I still kind of expect that to happen at some point.
Yeah.
It
would probably be some, like maybe there's just, like, some last message to give the gems at some point that they'll find.
I feel like it's either going to be some kind of unlocked gem power, because, I can't imagine that gems have ever been passed between separate consciousnesses like that before, so who knows what it could do. Or Lion will be involved somehow.
Yeah, probably.
I'm so sure that Lion will be involved somehow.
As long as he doesn't actually come back from the dead. That would be terrible.
I think that would be a bit cheap, given how much weight her death has had.
That would be profoundly cheap.
That said, I do wonder how much it would fuck everybody up if any of the other rose quartzes that are bubbled at the zoo got reconstituted.
When they entered that room in the episode, I thought they were all gonna pop and just... Oh god, no. That's a nightmare.
Greg would just straight up pass out.
Yes.
Poor Greg. Again, I fully expect us to go back to the zoo at some point.
Probably.
Like, there was so much lore and stuff set up there, we can't not.
Yeah. So yeah. Can't wait for season 5, which will inevitably have my 5th favorite episode. Life is convenient sometimes.
It all lines up so neatly.
Yep.